So definitely BREN Esports can look to punish them with those sort of picks, but we've already got all the spans in. What are your thoughts, Gideon?
I'm thinking... Okay, so here's what's on the table. Matilda's on the table, Jawhead's on the table, both really strong first picks for either side, and since Benedetta isn't there, I would lean towards one of the two. But we've seen this change up quite a number of times, right, Butters?
Yeah, RRQ Hoshi, they're just one team that I'm actually surprised that they banned first. Because usually for the other teams, they just go for certain templated bans for the tournament meta. That will be their first pick, but for the side of BREN Esports, they just go straight for the usual.
Oh, and...
Yeah. I like this because they're giving priority to Lusty. Just because you are giving priority to Lusty, he isn't forced to pick something weird or something that is not going to be the best or something that's heavily countered on the side of RRQ Hoshi.
What else this draft says is that BREN Esports are still reading what RRQ Hoshi is doing, right? By picking up the usual on Flaptizi, you're playing a safe hero, and then also by picking the Sylvana already, you're still opening up the fact that this might be for few, this might also be for Lusty. Lapu-Lapu and Claude picked RRQ Hoshi. Nothing too crazy just yet. James is still the metagame dictates is right.
Yeah, I definitely agree for pick coming in piece one here, which is relatively for RRQ Hoshi, but diving in towards phase two, of course, they've already got their hands on Lancelot for the side of BREN Esports, which is what we have seen what they can do back and towards that match against Alter Ego.
I actually think that BREN Esports is not even trying to read into what RRQ Hoshi wants to do. It's just that they are successful in these heroes. Like Wolf said earlier, they don't have a huge hero pool of heroes that they win with. I mean, these are just heroes that they want to play, and they're comfortable with this. RRQ Hoshi, no matter what they bring out, this is going to be the setup for BREN Esports that's gonna work.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Well, it is, and knowing BREN Esports, we just have to accept the fact that they need to be a little bit more creative in terms of this, but for this Lancelot, this Yuzhong, this Sylvana, they're safe with this.
Yeah, and now coming into the second phase, they're going to get rid of the Loyi as well as the Harith here. Both very important wave clearers, importantly, especially for RRQ's Hoshi's side. Yes, they do have Matilda for that magic damage, but they're not going to have too much lane priority, which I think even BREN reads, alright, we don't want our side lanes to get punished because we have seen, things like Harris show up into the side lane, things like Lunox and Farsa show up into the side lane as well.
I definitely think the both heroes that you mentioned is going to be pretty much contributing to a third big factor, but we got to find a way to answer this Lancelot, which has been able to stop Kaltizi at it, and works all the lockdowns that we need. Like, certainly Eagle's definitely not going to be enough, and with that, we definitely see the Cho being axed off, just to make sure nobody catches him with the way of the dragon.
I like the Cho pick just because it's the only available. It's one of the options here for RRQ Hoshi to just lock down that Lance. I actually agree with Contra, just looking at how the first three picks here for the side of RRQ Hoshi is set, they do not have an answer for the Lancelot as of now.
Not enough?
Joy is telegraphed. Like,
I mean, it's the choice that's left. There's no hero for second.
There is, but having that certain unstoppable force injector, you can see it coming from a mile away.
Well, you have the combo, you have the Circling Eagle, and yeah, BREN Esports, they're not even shy about it. This is definitely going to be Doc Ribo's Alice from the gold lane. I wonder what WizKing is thinking, because this Claude can still be a sneaky gold laner. Yeah, it still can. It's pretty flexible in that sense, and I think, even BREN now picking up the Alice as well as the Yuzong, they realize no matter what we pick at this point, even if we do get the 1-1, it's a little too late, and if we want to dominate the lane, it might not necessarily work out anyway, so you might as well get a relatively safe laner. And if RRQ decides to go for a double marksman composition better for us with our assassin, on top of the fact that we have some great pick potential and some really powerful scaling for that late game.
Sid and Vin, they're like brothers, and they rhyme. Their names rhyme.
Same goes to Kaltizi as well as Flap.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's a connection. It's a combination.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
Interesting enough, you bring in the Kaya game. This is something that was being introduced back in their best of 5 against Burmese Skulls, but here comes Lunox, which wasn't bad away. So there's a lot of damage output coming in from both, the 80 side things as well. Magic.
Oh,
Wow, I'm liking what I'm seeing from BREN Esports.
it's gonna be tough for Psycho to lock people down, but when he does, boy, is it sweet.
I suppose. I definitely suppose here. RRQ, they've got a much stronger early game in comparison to BREN. So as long as BREN, they basically want to play the early game a little bit more passive, just focus on clearing the ways and focus on, if they have to give up certain things on the invade, they just have to here. They don't have a choice. And Matilda is really going to be a problem for that. But at level 4, BREN's going to have a huge swing. They're very ultimate dependent.
Yeah, I like BREN Esports draft as well, but you really have to give props to that Akai pick from the RRQ HOSHI. You might not have the catch, solo single target catch, but you can destroy or you can cancel his combination, and that is the thing for that. Just don't let him burst on people.
Well, I think it is time to get a... This is game 1. Let's roll into the land of dawn for our semifinals matchup at M2. Boys, take it away.
Well, of course, all is going to be on Sin, as he will be the one that will be taking over. But just look at Few already getting taken down low.
Not even gonna be polite about it just yet. You come into our range, we will knock you down a peg. Few already less than half health, not even a minute into the game. Looking at the lanes, it's R7 on the Lapu-Lapu facing off against Ribo in the gold lane. Up top, it's Flap TZ versus Wiz King. So there's a little switcheroo being showed here by RRQ HOSHI. Again, you're never really sure what James is thinking.
Now, onto the middle lane, this is a normal matchup. Few knows that he will get harassed a lot here as long as he doesn't have his level 4. And as you can see, the damage output of the Matilda is just way too high. It's okay, because Few is the one getting damage, not Carl TZ.
Yeah, of course, we do see how easy though trying to actually go wander here, and Imole backs away, understanding that Sin as well as Vin, they could actually pull off some significant damages now that he does have the double belt buff as well. So a little bit of shove coming from both ends. BREN Esports, they cannot force any issue.
Yep, as Gideon said, Brenny's just waiting for the level 4, and that's when they go ahead and put it into high gear. That's when things get to start. That's when it becomes more interesting. Right now, Turtle is coming up about 10 seconds from now in the top lane. This is Winning and Vin waiting to find one, catching them off guard, and now Carl is just clearing the wave alongside the rest of these mid laners, preparing for the first turtle take.
And speaking of which, we can definitely see that RQ is in the prime position to be able to get that challenge in. And for Lusty, he's keeping an eye out, and here comes Psycho.
Lusty is using brush as well, but RRQ, they are going for the Lord next, and this is going to be tricky for them because on the other side.
On a few first blood drawn by Shin, and there's no go. That's gonna be the Rampaging Sandstorm. Lusty bites it. He's a little too low. Oh, not even a trade. They do get one. It's Vin, but it's 3 on the side of HOSHI. 7.3 to 6.7. Ooh, already a 500 gold lead.
That was the perfect timing for RRQ HOSHI to pick a fight. Why? Because Carl TZ's expired. He doesn't have the
have to miss a wave, and then he can be part of the team fight. Now, Turtle going on here. Lusty looking for a target. He does have his Imperial Justice on cooldown. Already taking the first Turtle. Down goes Lusty. Vin gets him down. Oh, that's going to be another takedown. Few gets eliminated. 2 for none. Is it?
What a pincer attack coming in from both sides. RQ, they just rushed right in and got BREN Esports members all caught out, and I definitely like what they are doing with the Kai, just having the Hurricane Dance in perfect position.
Now, the fight for Bren here is going to be really tough, but as long as they do not give as much turrets as possible, it's going to be great. Psycho will be the first target, and he will go down. Wiz King is getting chased down, but Sin is there to help his ally, and that's going to be Flap. But Bren,
We have to go. It seems like it will be bursting down, but it won't be. The order will be popped right in. Whiskey does get that double for that dodge. Great coming from RRQ. Kaltizi tries to take the buff away, and he tries to move right in first position, catching on towards Velocity. But Kaltizi, how far can he run with a mega kill coming from Whiskey?
that was a very risky play coming out from Bren Esports. Carl just wanted to take that purple buff from Sin, but RRQ Hoshi was on top of it.
Yeah, and definitely a great timing on circling Eagle itself. Now 8-3, but the goal difference is not going to be too huge in the early phase of the game. 3 seconds till the next objective. Well, I definitely see that right now. Members inside of BREN Esports, they're trying to pull the trigger on a very difficult position, and that definitely didn't pay any dividend at all.
Now, looking at it, this is the roster lineup here for RRQ Hoshi that really has a much aggressive early game. They go for those turtles. When BREN Esports, they're kind of caught off guard.
Yep, here we go. Blazing the wet by Sin. He gets the battle mirror image. Did he steal it? I think he did. Caught easy without his purple, and now the second turtle comes up. I think the fact that RRQ Hoshi is more comfortable with just giving up the turtle to get beneficial trades is dangerous for BREN Esports.
Yeah, right now the turtle is going to be the main target for both of these teams. BREN Esports really want that. RRQ does not want to give that to them. Psycho with the petrify. Oh my goodness. The list goes down.
Not a good look for Lusty so far, and without that Imperial Justice, whether it be because it's on cooldown or whether it's because they catch him like that, not even blinking. Oh no, Flappy gets a barrage of bullets from Shin, and that's gonna be Vin putting the nail in the coffin for Flappy. It's been tough for BREN Esports. 6 minutes 45 seconds in, Doc Ribo tries to go for a push. That's gonna be R7 not able to save the turret. In comes Psycho.
And of course, Blood already popped up as they will be able to match this pretty much safely. Don't really like the sort of exchange that they had back towards the turtle pit, and this is where things get a little bit rowdy with the rest of RRQ Hoshi moving right back in, chasing on towards Ripple as he tries to make an escape. But how long can he last? As you can see, R7 has already got Peppers right behind him, and Sid might just actually get this one coming.
Now, Rebus is trying to scale at the bottom lane, but the problem is RRQ Hoshi just control the top lane, and now the next target for them is going to be this bottom lane. They want to get this before the 60 seconds passes, so that they can set up to the top lane and get the next objective there. A turtle probably? But RRQ Hoshi has their sights set on just controlling every single side of this map.
Oh, Lusty tries to put a bead on it, misses it. Phantom Execution still online. They use it for a dash. It's not enough. Sin finds you, and Flapteasy uses Black Dragon form to Lusty survives, but only for now as well. Flapteasy, that's -1. Carl finally shut down here. No longer on the side of RRQ Hoshi. They push mid. That's going to be open. And Bars, as you were saying, it's a diversion play, and they just got a free turret along the way. It's a drive-through, right? They're giving BREN Esports so many problems, so that whenever RRQ Hoshi goes for an objective, there's just no answer because they're trying to, plug these holes into sinking ships.
The playing prowess or the playmaking prowess of Psycho is just showing right here. The amount of pressure, the amount of worry that he puts on BREN Esports' shoulder, it's just too much to bear for them, and the pressure to the early game.
Yeah, and you can definitely see that RQ's plan when they immediately lock in that clock. This is what they were hoping for in the best case of things. And towards this clock, and it's pretty much hard to Cat in that sort of moment. Now, a little bit of setup here coming from Psycho as looking for a good one. And there we go.
This is going to be the Schultz. They're going for the purple. And look at the life bars melting at the feet of Sin. That's a double. They take one on the backswing. But what is R7 for 4 members of BREN Esports? What is R7? It is all worth it. Siege begins right here. They want to penetrate, not even 10 minutes in.
Yeah, there's only a couple of all these members that will be coming up online in front of Lusty as well as Flap TZ in a couple of seconds here. But they've already lost way too many towers, and I definitely think that they take too much control all in the span of less than even 10 minutes. Let's check out the item, shall we? Butters, we're seeing a great build coming out of RQ.
Now, if you look at it, Sin here went for the brute force breastplate. That is going to be good defense against the Lancelot. Lancelot isn't at the best position right now just because he has the Heptasis, but no endless battle, no blade of despair. And Queen is for Flap TZ. He doesn't have the extra firepower. He doesn't have the skill vamp to just back up that tankiness that he has. Although for few, we're seeing a bit of progression here. Enchanted Talisman to the necklace, Durance. Then getting out of Durance as well, and at the same time, he does have that casual armor just to protect himself from current TV.
So far, what I'm seeing is Sin and Vin, say what you will about their names rhyming, but they both understand that they have to somehow go in. This is 2 heroes that usually don't have to go dive in, but speaking of dives, that's going to be the Order of Brilliance, Pioneer by few just to survive. Rebo with the blood flow coming in, and here's a Black Diamond Form. Flap easy, he can smell blood, but I think Yoshi is setting something up from the left side. Whisking, I think he's looking for it. There's the Rampaging Sandstorm. Oh, they sense the Lord thing. Continue taken down here. Sin is now godlike. There's the Blazing Duet. Lusty's gonna be next. Whisking puts him in, down under the ground, 6 feet. Plus the Lord, RRQ HOSHI is right for the finish.
They pushed them out, and with that, they initially went in by popping the Order of Brilliance, and Luz already using the ultimate. They could not possibly go into cross anywhere near towards the Lord, but here comes RQ. They've already got the taken out, and they are going straight to finish up. Go on, but there's going to be a defense coming in from the side of Vancouver. They tried to hold on. Rebo with the blood. Oh, he flickers away, but look at R7. He's thrown in as well, but he will give his life for it. BREN Esports, they're slowly going down, and game 1 is hands up to the Indonesian side, RRQ HOSHI.
And you saw how aggressive they were in terminating that first turtle on their side. RRQ, I think my thoughts were right. This is their early game lineup in terms of
It's like Whisking and Sin were playing all throughout day 1 and 2. This is what it looks like for RRQ.
I mean, honestly, they have been one of the more veteran play coming in for the side of RRQ for a large majority of the roster as well. They have been for a while, and I think that makes a significant difference when it comes to just decision making and some of these more reliable picks that they've been pulling off time and time again.
Yeah, I definitely think that it looks a lot more clear than what we saw coming in towards the upper bracket ones for the side of RQ. And they took the time to really break down what can go wrong in those games that BREN was fighting out their ego. So this survey picks that came out from BREN Esports have been predicted to come online once again, and immediately they found their answer.
Hey, I think this is still all right for BREN. This is the best of 5 here, so there is plenty of time to adapt. RRQ, they start off strong off the gates, but let's see if their performance is going to maintain. And I think the adaptations, what are we expecting here?
expecting them to just have this idea now that this RRQ player lineup is so aggressive that it's toe-to-toe with their aggressive lineup as well, and just try to be a bit creative on the drafting. You know, even if you go for the Lancelot, you can actually just get more heroes to support him. That will surprise RRQ HOSHI.
Yep, surprises, surprises, but let's see what our analysts have to say. Let's throw it over to Wolf as well as LaFell. Take it away.
Hello, thank you very much, guys, and this is just the first game, but I wish everyone is here. I wish the audience was here to hear they scream and shout. They let it all out. You know, it was great. So, but thank you to our host. They actually took a video, so we will upload that a little bit later. But anyways, in this game, the first game, RRQ against BREN. Wolf, break it down. What happened?
Well, here's the thing. I think that this is the decision from RRQ HOSHI to go for somewhat of a gatekeeping strategy. I'm sure that this is not what it's called, but to me, visually speaking, that's what I saw in that particular game. Gatekeeping, what they did was to
In this kind of situation, honestly, anyone could get the MVP. R7, he deserved it. Whiskey,
sure.
he deserved it. But Zin, in this kind of fashion, I do feel like he deserves it a little bit more, just because in scaling, he should not be doing all the things that he's been doing in with his other teammates, with Psycho, with R7 or Whiskey, whatever part of the meta that he's going with. They will make sure that they will make the play, they will get the kills, they will get the advantage, they will get all of those objectives.
I want to say whatever what the whole RRQ squad took for breakfast, had for breakfast, I want to have it too, because everybody just woke up really well. I mean, this is the morning, they were drafting well, they were playing well, and they were also screaming in a very emotional manner. And
Yeah.
I like to hear it.
And the thing is, yes, it is early in the morning. Perhaps BREN is where they haven't properly warmed up. Again, it's a best of 5 series. It can go either way. Just like yesterday, we did see between Birmingham School as well as RRQ. So again, anything could definitely happen. This is just the first game. We'll be going into the second game soon. Where again, I don't think it's the draft situation. I feel like it's a situation of being very, very comfortable with the laning phase.
This is RQ just prepared for this onslaught. I mean, we did talk during our Discord session that they have to be prepared for it. They cannot just ban it. Just looking at banning the Lancelot is a band-aid solution, as Lysander said, and it seems like RRQ HOSHI, they are well equipped to deal with this. Last thing I want to say about the adjustment coming out from RRQ HOSHI is that they were able to show us how to actually support a hero, how to activate a marksman in the middle, just like what Burmese Ghouls has been doing. And they might have taken notes. Because honestly, if I just, cover the names and the team, I might think that it's actually Burmese Ghouls playing it because of how much they put a lot of emphasis into that mid lane map where the carry and the mid laners and the supports are. And the movement is just so fluid.
Exactly. And
Chin already banned out for BREN Esports, while on the red side, RRQ is going to be banning out Matilda.
I'm guessing Jawhead should show up here, whether by pick. I do believe that Lusty is decent on it, and Psycho should be able to use the aggression of Wiz King and the Sin to great advantage. And again, for BREN Esports, I'm wondering why Lusty got locked into the Sylvana earlier, right? That's the benefit of the ban right now by BREN Esports. I'd like to know, argue from game number one, they really did well to time out the Imperial Justices. Not a single one for BREN Esports earlier was used as they intended.
If you're gonna pick a Cho, like if you're gonna lock in a Sylvana or a Cho, there's actually a difference between those two. Cho is much more rewarding in terms of punishing those teams that like to split push. But first, if you're gonna pick a Sylvana and the team split pushes, then they
Don't really fight 5-on-5 as much as possible. So you just want to grow. But for RRQ Hoshi, as you've seen on game number one, they really like to go for those fights. So Sylvana is going to be much more rewarding. I like the read coming up from BREN Esports that they want to fight, but the Sylvana didn't just work for them at that point.
Yeah, this time we are seeing Claude and Dexter coming into play for BREN Esports, so already snatching this key pick away from Sin. What a way to actually welcome him on this stage. But RRQ Hoshi, we talked about that Sylvana. Don't you think it's also quite dangerous that they opened this pick up for RRQ?
I agree here. I mean, the Sylvana is probably going to be the pick coming in from RRQ, but the question is whether do they want to get the Yuzong or do they want to get something else? And no, instead, they're going to completely avoid it and go straight for something extremely reliable, the Jawhead as well as the Selena.
Yeah, the thing about Jawhead is why I'm forcing it and why I'm just not over it, why Game Up is it's always on. Ejector is not an ultimate. Ejector comes on and off like within the same team fight 2 or 3 times. And yeah, Unstoppable Force, it's an almost confirmed -1, except for tank or someone with mobility. But right now, I think if they don't pick up a hero for Lusty, it's gonna be tough. Again, you have to focus so much for your mid lane when you're at BREN Esports here. This can't be a gold laner. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Sure.
Okay. So now with that being shown, I would expect RRQ to maybe consider an offlaner, but they don't necessarily have to. We have seen teams say, like, yes, we do like Lapu Lapu, and it is a great pick. However, we can save it for much later on. And not to mention that there's such a plethora of, like, the Wan going into the side lane, the Harith going into the side lane, that Yuzong doesn't necessarily need to win. It's just going to get oppressed, and you just have to absorb that damage.
I agree. But RRQ Hoshi here, just to put a bit more emphasis into the Selena and Jawhead pick, they will never make Carldizi, if he's ever gonna use the cloud, they will never give him the idea that he is safe. There is always a chance that the Jawhead, the Selena, is just waiting at a certain area, and they're gonna throw an arrow, they're gonna go for the ejector. That's the thing, RRQ Hoshi, they don't really like this Jawhead pick as much. You don't really see it come out from them. But if it's necessary, they will just go for it, and with the Claude on the other side, this is the pick for them in the early game.
Honestly, like what you added right there. Let's talk about this link pick as well. This gives not much safety net for that Claude, where every one of these members can just play ultra aggressive, dive straight to him, just whether it's before or after the Blazing Duet is the best scenario to be able to catch him.
It's a good foil.
Yeah, and
Mobility and its catch.
exactly, and now they're already eliminating all these difficult to deal with heroes such as the lead
R7,
Well,
lead.
Yeah, so where are they going with this?
Oh no, here's the thing. From this game, I'm not sure if it was Khalid on the R7 on the Khalid, but arguably, I think they understand that they have to lock down few. Again, Lusty has already made it through, so they attack the next best thing, and they attack both few in the gold lane. Although I still have hope that maybe BREN Esports can actually flex this and put the Claude in the gold lane.
Potentially, yeah.
They need to.
I think Claude into the gold lane is definitely a shout here, and that's why RRQ is just banning out the 1-1, saying at the very least where you're gonna have to flex the Claude. Claude is something that we can see, that we can deal with, and you can't really change it. The 1-1 could be flexible later on. So with that whatsoever. Tabo's getting banned out by Bren. It looks like they want to push RRQ towards that Lapu Lapu.
I think Bren is baiting out the Beleric right now for the side of RRQ Hoshi. Like you have the Claude, you ban out 2 side laners. It feels like you're baiting out something here, but that's going to be the gold lane Harriet. Will RRQ Hoshi give in? Because the Claude Beleric relationship is actually, very complex. It's a love-hate relationship.
I mean, to be fair, Lemon isn't playing, so they might not necessarily whip it
True.
out, but you don't really know.
True.
And I do like the Harith pick more so because you can flex that gold lane and in towards the mid lane as well, leaving that final pick to kind of predetermine, yeah, we could get the Lapu Lapu. We could still kind of spice things up and, add in a Farsa if we really wanted to, or, add in a bigger tank later on.
Yeah, 2 mages can still show up. 2 mages. Right lane, mage, and of course mid for few. Do note, I think it's very possible that a Harriet can go into the XP lane as well.
Yeah.
What's scarier than an ultra fast Zaman Force quick rotation? Like, that's the thing.
I don't really see anything or really see any hero on the side of RRQ Hoshi that will pin people down in a certain area.
I don't think they need to.
If anything, they're chasing.
They're hyper aggressive here. They're playing with the Jawhead and as well as the Selena. Both of those predetermined that if you walk up, we will start trying to take advantage. But I think, Brent, they've got some really good options here. We've seen the matchup time and time again between Selena into the Cho, where, Cho can actually face tank a lot of these Abyssal and the well-timed Shenpo, and then it's not that big of a deal. But coming in with that Savannah, level 4 is going to be kind of interesting for both sides. I can't really tell who's going to win that level 4.
Okay, I like this.
RRQ, they're going to be locking in the Ruby.
It gives them certain damage, it controls people, and they just want to hold them into place. And this is perfect for them. There's enough time for them to take people down. I mean, chasing down people, yes, that's true, but you still have to get into consideration the Zaman Force. Harriet wants to be there. Ling might be chasing them down, but I think Ling on the other side is just gonna go for the backline. I think that's their main idea here.
Yeah, we've seen this sort of composition before from the side of BREN eSports. What surprises that they honestly didn't bother about the Alice pick or the Sylvana, which easily could have been banned away. And they offer one stitch, which kind of secures things for RRQ. Like, hey, if game 1 it went our way, we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from here. And so, give or take, I think RRQ was prepared to lose Sylvana, or, arguably flex the Cho. But I think it's time as we get into the game to figure out this conclusion as we move on into game 2. Please, Bucks, Contra, as well as Leo, go for it. Cast game, give us some color.
Here we go. BREN eSports versus RRQ. If Butters was right, if the pacing for BREN eSports actually is beneficial, that they learn a little bit from game number 1, we'll see this be the litmus test for that. Now, Lusty, leashing a bit from Easy. This is a quick purple. I think this just allows to move out a little faster, get that BMI, and get that bit of mobility, and then moving on. That's also the purple. Oh, no, orange first. Orange first here for Sin.
Pretty interesting start as we are already seeing a little bit of contest going over on towards Little Wanderer, and I guess we're going to be staring at them just taking a chance of snatching it away.
It makes a lot of sense to just go for the orange first for the lane. Just because you want to be a bit faster than the Claude. I mean, Claude,
Dealing damage, that is.
not necessarily, but you just want to use your superior mobility to just clear the waves and just find the pick off, just get your level 4, go to another lane. Claude will think, should I go there or should I just farm? Because that thing, the Tempest of Blades is a good way to control people as well and take down people in the process. But looking at the side lanes here for the side of BREN eSports, I think the Ling will have a great time going back and forth on those side lanes, as long as in terms of dueling, their lanes win.
I feel like it was one of those situations where they're kind of I wouldn't say preemptively doing it, just playing off the information at hand. You had somebody go to the mid lane, they work, fast clear that jungle. They started on towards the orange side because they can generally see, they started showing up, they started up into the mid lane, they quickly ran over to deal with their purple buff straight away. So at that moment, they say, okay, we can actually match you here. We're going to start on orange side, move over to our purple, and then contest for Litho Wander in the river.
I just like how both teams actually having exactly the same thought, same sort of the routes that they do take. So it's all about, who gets what, and then they can plot the next attack, and we are already in towards our game. So in number 2 here, I really do wonder how will they down Sin's, because they only got Lusty, and if he uses way to catch either the Harif or even the likes of Finn, it's easier to burst down, but Sin, they gotta make sure that they catch him real fast.
That's what Few is for. He is on the Sylvana, and I think he'll be a little more frugal when it comes to the Imperial Justice this time around, seeing how it didn't work out so well in game number 1. This gold lane matchup up top is one thing interesting to note. Harith wins the early game compared to the Alice. Now Few spots one off. That's going to be Psycho right across the bush, and while the action isn't happening just yet, nice arrow thrown out, just misses by a hair.
I just love it that BREN Esports took something from Todak's book and they just put the Sylvana as a support. Like, you can do that. You're not limited into just those high damage dealing heroes. You can see people there as well. Now with this Sylvana, they have the extra teamfight capability.
Yeah, speaking of which, it's going to be an arrow hitting on towards Few. It's just going to be having his health tickle a little bit, but Ribbo, as much as he can, actually move across quicker than the Harith, but he's already down low. It's really hard for him to join in if they were to start the turtle from this RRQ HOSHI, and we're just waiting for these guys to be prepared to make that rotation.
Yeah, between the two of them up top, Ribbo here and R7, obviously R7 has to telegraph when he's gone. But Rebo, on the other hand, can rotate to mid and then somehow help out if this turtle fight does break out. Lusty just waiting here in that pixel bush. That's going to be Zaman Force already committed. So Rebo can say, hey, no more Zaman Force. I think we can move on, try to do something. And after this orange buff, we can expect something big from Carl.
Yeah, and it's already going on the recall, so he can directly walk straight in towards the turtle pit pretty quickly. Now, a little bit of the contention for the golden crab, if you may call it. So, could be a lot of gold coming for the side of Sin.
This is great for the side of BREN Esports. If you think about it, Vin hasn't been that hot onto hitting those arrows.
Yeah,
the
not so
opening
much.
wasn't there, and Carl TZ had a good 3 minutes. First 3 minutes were good for Carl TZ. BREN Esports here is going for the turtle, and there's no contest. Up top, Rico will be the target.
First blood here by ours. Again, they're trading lives for turtles. Rebo taken out. That's going to be a huge move for Sin, the first kill of the game. Now, the gold cap is how we saw it earlier on. And so far, the fact Rebo stayed in the lane, and that's 3 members of RRQ HOSHI that had the EXP and the gold. That's what led to this very, very small marginal gain on BREN Esports, but there's no conversion really.
Yeah, and Calamity's life already in the hands of R7 after 1 kill in the back, but Psycho easily gets spotted out by a few with desperate movement. Nothing much is going to be happening between the two of them, but of course, Psycho has a very big duty coming in towards those team fights, and he's got to catch out Kaltizi, but look at just the layers of things that Kaltizi has already used the blazing what?
Calamity Reaper is something that R7 can just utilize, and if they ever want to pick fights right now, this might be the time that they should go for it. And the upper turret doesn't have any more energy shields, I think. It was chipped down a bit by R7.
Yeah, all 3 of them. Yeah.
And if they want to just go for it, their next objective, and Lusty here will be the first target for Vin that he hits.
Oh, that's the coursing river, and well, it definitely did happen in the river, of course, and the rest of the members of RRQ jumping right in, trying to set things up against Ripple, but who's happening for they popped out as he tries to run away and he survives.
Now the rotations coming up from RRQ Hoshi, it seems like they're reading into BREN Esports' playbook. They know where the hell is BREN Esports gonna come from.
Yeah, it's easy, and I think for now, our Yoshi will do that and try to make this goal gap a little smaller because Carl Easy's not there yet. Carl Easy's not easy, gonna be coming in. There's the ejector on the one. Turtle taken in by the Ling. That's Sin helping out. Lusty destroyed. That's Wiz King taking him. And Psycho, though, gonna get away from Flap Easy. So far, it's a 1 for none. Rebo looking low. He is gonna. Oh, the flicker in. The flicker in. All the from R7, ladies and gentlemen. They're all low, but they're getting the kills nonetheless. Psycho just acting as a barricade. Carl Easy and Few can't do much. Wow, that was a total win. A watch for BREN Esports. They couldn't get anything, and conversion through the roof. You want to turn with that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, quite a destruction that we've just witnessed over on towards the turtle side, and RRQ Hoshi has been able to also a turret right down below, but I'm looking at the lack of responses coming in from BREN Esports side as well. We saw an early usage of the placing duet on towards those minutes itself. I don't think it's relatively worth it.
I think Carl Easy just understands that he has to speed up the clear. Sure. He has to catch up, and they can see that the goal gap is growing. And if he's not joining fights, which I think he shouldn't, then yeah, blazing duet, by all means, pull the trigger.
Now, I'm seeing BREN Esports having a hard time. Well, that's obvious. But still, we haven't seen Carl Easy with the blazing duet. And it just seems to me that RRQ Hoshi are picking their fights well. They fight in a time where Carl Easy has his blazing duet out.
Yeah, again, it's just basic fundamentals. Now, nice catch. Imperial Justice on a Psycho. Plus a down force by R7. A few shields gonna stay there. 7 to blaze. And Sin knocks off Carl Easy. Oh, R7 barely survives. Flap Easy pops him open. That's a double Sin though. Rebo gonna get away. Blood O keeping him alive, but how long Vin is still alive here. Flap Easy. Shot energy is it enough for him to take on? Always King and Vin. Here comes Sin with the orange buff. It's gonna hurt. Oh, I think they disengage. They know that Few can still deal a lot of damage.
We have to disengage right there. It's a 2-for-2 trade, and it's still working out for side of BREN Esports. As at least they do have left using here. And they are getting flanked from multiple directions. It's a killing spree coming in for Sin. And the next one to fall, it's gonna be Sin that gets caught out. I think it's pretty okay with this catch.
Yeah, well, Few still the instinct to stay and know that I can sustain these members of RRQ Hoshi left. The spiral strangling keeps El Capitan alive enough to make sure that when Carl Easy comes back, they can test for this turtle. And oh, look at this down bottom. Oh yeah.
Gives them enough space, and Carl gets hit by the arrow.
Damage output. That's gonna be Carl Easy shot down, takes the turtle. Zaman Force, there's enough shields in there to keep him alive. RRQ Hoshi shouting their lungs out. They know won that all in.
This is the status Selena can do. It can hit your jumper in the middle of 2 people, and that's how impactful the Selena is. If done correct.
Oh, you just look at Wiz King and he does not even care how much you can put upon him, but Psycho is getting focused on, and they are already trying to get away to cut through the throats, and he still gets away with that kill after expending that execute.
Oh, that was a beautiful execute. Full range, I believe, because Flap Easy clicked it as he was exiting. Now, if only this was a Festival of Blood. I think he made the call. That was a calculated decision prior to the game. Killing spree so that he lasts longer in these fights. I'm wondering, kicking himself right now, saying, "Oh, I could have got stacks. I could have gotten stacks."
Maybe you might just be.
But at that point on, RRQ Hoshi could have just let BREN
Go and try to go for another objective. But what do? They try to get as much kills as possible. Then Carl Easy here is gonna have more time to just get his farm. There's no pressure for him. Lusty gets an Athena shield. They are slowly scaling up the point where RRQ Hoshi, they might not have an
answer this God anymore.
Oh, here we go. Black back and forth. Black he comes in. There's the appeal. Just catches one. R7 decimated. And now underneath the fight is going to continue. They're going to trade out Lusty. Taken out by Psycho. It's tank on tank violence. They'll call it supportal combat.
No.
All down bottom. In with split push. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a worthy trade.
That was way too sneaky coming from the side of RRQ. Yes, they did trade, and it's okay for Arsenal right there as they still managed to catch on for Celeste.
Oh,
Mid lane.
no, an ejector into the back. Stamps the blades, keeping him down. They're still alive. Flaps easy. Quite a few hits. Oh! Still able to help Kyle survive, but only for so long because Flaps easy is gonna bite it right here. It's only Ribo, only Phil Ribo. Lusty gonna be trying to come back. That's good. Blood out to the back lines, and Vin is getting the brunt of this all. And right now it's Phil, and he's spiral strangling once more, poking the front line. And there's Zaman Force. Oh, you do best to disengage, and R7 gets one still.
And these are the fights where you can see the split decision making coming up from these teams. Carl TZ goes back in, takes down Ling. Now when they saw that, someone just jumped on Carl, took him down. The threat assessment here for both teams are so on point. They turn instantaneously if ever a priority target is in front of them.
Yeah, as much. You just took the words right out of my mouth. They just appear and immediately they put it right there. Just like how Rainbow is getting chunked out. Bloodwolf trying to survive, but Rainbow will still fall nonetheless. Now, RRQ should be able to get the top side of the tier 1, and the Lord is already out, but Few already engaging. And Kaltizi gets caught out.
That's gonna be the ejector into the Imperial Justice. Not much. Tempest of Blaze gonna want to start a little bit more in the purple buff. BREN Esports' jungle is a hot zone. It's gonna be one for Few, one for Flap Easy. That's a double though. Still shut down by the half dragon. Flap Easy here. He wants more. He knows blood 2 for 2. I think that's as good as BREN Esports can get.
Okay, so now that's a 2 for 2, but the advantage here for BREN Esports is they have the retribution. They can get the snort from to step a bit, but Psycho and Whiskey, they won't let that happen.
They're gonna force the issue, and here comes Ribo. Psycho gonna be going back. Oh, we have the dragon. Lassie says, get away from here, and the Lord is secured by BREN.
Just one slight mishap coming from the side of RRQ HOSHI has opened things up, and it all led to this. When they saw Sin was already out, immediately they called for it, especially, you know, having no retribution on the side of RRQ. And by the time Rebo come, RRQ says, okay, this is definitely not to be our Lord, and oh boy, this might just be the biggest comeback coming towards game 2.
Bonus, I have a question for you. 3 towers on HOSHI, but BREN Esports got the Lord. Who won the trade?
Definitely BREN Esports, because they are the ones who's gonna stop the game a bit. Now, this is a Luminous Lord. This is something RRQ HOSHI needs to send 2 to 3 people for.
At least.
So that means the turrets on the side of RRQ are bound to go down, and that is one turret immediately in the hands of BREN Esports.
Guess what? They're even sending their own men just to try to buy even more time, but here's
defensive Tempest of Blaze onto Sin. He is out of this fight for now. Another push in mid. I think that turret down bottom might be next. Nay, make it this one in mid. And right now, BREN Esports, they're taking as much time as they need to be able to secure the late game. Carl TZ, call him I don't sleep.
Now, Leo, contra, this is where the jungle happens. You can see that BREN Esports is scattering themselves all over the map. Contra, you were saying?
Yeah, it's all resources for the side of BREN Esports right after securing that Lord. Now, you see so many layers that we saw coming from the side of R2. Yeah, they want to go in for those picks every single time that they see BREN Esports try to dive right at it. Just look at the goal lead right now, swinging in favor of the side of BREN Esports. Already 2.5. And there's going to be a lot of money for them to buy all these items in.
I just want to check the items right now so that we have a bit of time. Oh, there's a fight happening.
Oh, no, Ejector started up. It's Few. That's going to be Tempest Blades. You know Sin feels it right now. Black Dragon forming here by Flap. Oh, and Whiskey gets blown to pieces. Ejector into the turret. Force right there. That's going to be the barricade. Down goes Whiskey. Rebo gets the kill. And that's 1 for Bren.
I think this is the perfect time to just go for a check. So let's see
Better late than never.
the Claude
Demon Hunter sword. He has the Athena shield up. He has the golden staff
Check.
up. So the items here are not all damage items, but still it gives him a certain amount of protection. For Flap, it's going to be a cursed helmet, a Queen's Wings, and a bloodless axe plus an oracle, extra tankiness.
Revo here is almost at item lock. So we can expect a lot from him in the coming fight. Verse 7 though, he has a Calamity Reaper, Defender of Heaven, the Holy Crystal, everything that he needs to deal a certain amount of damage. But Sin with the Queen's Wings, that might help them in the coming fights.
Oh, hopefully it does, because Psycho's going right in with his unstoppable force already, but he is getting taken down immediately. And with that, R7 goes into be securing the killing spree by having you taken out.
Nice. Nice for RRQ. I thought RRQ is trading out effectively, and they defended that inhibitor turret relatively well. Could have been cleaner since Psycho had to go down just the same. But there is one thing that's alarming me. One thing that says, oh, RRQ Hoshi, I think they know that they're on the ropes, is because almost all Tempest Blades in the past 2 or 3 team fights have been defensive. Right now, they want to pick this. Sin, another defensive Tempest Blades. And Flapteasy and Revo are here. They're dealing the damage. They're raining it down. That's going to be Ling taken down. Another looking for it. Waiting to come back. That's R7 now. And from the back, it's Whiskey. 3-4, none. Brand Esports can go ahead and take free second of the game. And from here, another penetration.
You can really see the easy connection. Once Sin goes down for Claude, what Flap does is he goes around with the Black Dragon just targeting Sin, and Sin can't do much about that.
Yeah, they went in a little bit too early, if you ask me, because they went in for that engagement by the corners of the jungle, and there's nothing much to get out of it. They lose Sin in the process. This is just history repeating itself. And second Luminous Lord for the BREN Esports, I think they have got this game pretty much sealed.
Yep, Blade going over to R7, but check it out, Flapteasy just got his Sea Halberd now. Middle lane pushed in, Lord isn't even on the map just yet. Now, we have come from just building casual deadly blades into actually turning it into a full-on Sea Halberd, and that is just impressive. That just shows how much Flapteasy wants to really stop the regeneration and finish when they started, because I believe the next 1 or 2 team fights, if it even extends to that, could be the last.
Yeah, and looking at R7, they don't really have as much deaths. Whisking as well, so you just have to stop them on their tracks. If they can stall out him, make an important pickoff, make an important play, then that might be something that BREN Esports can lose from.
Yeah, speaking of losing stuff, they're already lost the top side of the turret, and you can definitely see that it's absolutely cut out. That's not how you need to be. Average is already scored it, and Lusty is hunting for those kills. BREN Esports will definitely get this equalizer right here for the Philippines.
Sitting at 1-1, Butters, you may have been the herald of good news for many Filipino fans around the world of Mobile Legends, BREN Sports. Maybe, just maybe, that game how they needed the pace.
I mean, well, it could be a download game. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really talked to them if they really like their download games, but it happens for some, and you can't really expect. But if the tournament meta is not available or changes, these are the things that might happen to
gold. That is gold. But yeah. Either way, speaking of gold, we got two of the teams with yellow on their logo, and in my opinion, right?
free. Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Spree! Mega kill! Unstoppable monster kill!
Whether you're from Indonesia or the Philippines, if you're watching this game, good on you. And if you know somebody who plays Mobile Legends Bang Bang but not watching the game, get your phone, send them a text, forward them the link to Facebook or YouTube and say, hey, you need to watch this game right now because we are neck and neck between RRQ HOSHI and BREN Esports. Welcome back to your M2 World Championships 2020, powered by Moonton, supported by the Singapore Tourism Board, hashtag Passion Made Possible, Skoga, who have been supporting esports careers and talents here in Singapore since 2008, our friends over at IMDA, and our partner brands Secret Lab, Singtel, Tumi, SUTL, Cathay Cinema, MediaCorp, and of course our official gaming gear, Razer, who have the Razer Black Shark V2 still up for grabs. All you have to do, aside from pledging your allegiance to your favorite team on our comment section, leave a comment on why you should be the one walking away with the Razer Black Shark V2. Of course, my name is Joachim Gomez, not alone, joined by my co-host Lasenda, as well as our panelists Lafell and Wolf. My question is, have you caught your breaths yet?
No. No. It's essentially a best of 3 right now.
Exclusive skins available now if you just log on to MLBB and complete the task of predictive champions to win those M2 coins and exchange those coins for M2 exclusive rewards, including the M2 special avatar border, the M2 battle emote, the M2 sacred statue, and most importantly, the M2 exclusive skin, Click the Shadow Omen, which can be gained directly for 899 diamonds. The event is happening right now till the 24th of January, so please, please grab it while you can.
there's some context to the discussion and the conversation that Butters had with Ducky. If that is indeed true, I mean, there's so many factors that could go into why it's sin and whisking this round. But if it was true, then definitely that's kudos to James. I mean, it's respect, right? That's respect.
Easy. Would I bring anything? Would I bring any lies into this game?
Oh, no, not that it's lies. But, I'm sorry, Butters. I'm very defensive here.
I don't know.
Nervous. He went a little bit like, wait, what are you talking about?
I only bring facts.
Bring facts. I guess no. I'd say that it could be an element of surprise. There are many factors, right? Many factors here. But what I want to highlight is the respect. And right now, BREN Esports, they have stayed blue. That means RRQ HOSHI stays red. We want this chance to go double picks, and that's how they want to react to this and again win this race.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in terms of this race, being able to kind of dictate the pace of the game, RRQ deciding to go on to the red side, something a little bit more familiar, something that we've seen them actually adapt with against the Burmese Ghouls itself. We saw a couple of really good drafts and slowly pulling back used to, as I said before. But Contra, where do you think this is leading?
Well, it's definitely leading towards what they want to open up for the side of BREN Esports once again. I think that we are going to be seeing the different sort of phase coming from the side of RRQ HOSHI and what they want to coming in towards that double things that they can go for in the initial phase. And with that, as part of being banned away, the question now is what I mentioned, the Yuzong. Is it going to land on RRQ HOSHI side?
Ooh, maybe, I don't know, because they still have those third bans, and those third bans generally kind of tell you, like, what is the priority for either one of these teams, right?
Yeah, BREN Esports. Yeah, they're a team that could probably just focus on the tank as much. But RRQ HOSHI, I think they like the Lapo more than the Yuzhong. Like, you would see them pick the Yuzhong, but it could be on the second phase. They like the Lapo more.
I mean, Lapu Lapu, I don't know, like, looking at the sense of whether or not Lapu Lapu or Yuzhong, we've seen the impact of Yuzhong more, occur more, and honestly, Lapu Lapu and Yuzhong have a pretty decent rate overall, but so coming up for this last ban for RRQ HOSHI here, do you think that is going to be the go-to, or are we going to see Sylvana here?
I think they have to respect more Yuzhong's flat easy. Yeah. Oh, but instead, they both play with fire and they're opening up the side lanes and the tanks. So yeah, Lapu Lapu, you're all still on the table. The tanks, Shawhead, Show, still on the table.
Yeah.
And even the mages are relatively open too, like none of them were touched.
Yeah, I want to look at the mages here because the first game RRQ HOSHI did pick up the Matilda, which is pretty much out in the open. I think that definitely having somebody who can just dish out quite a chunk of damage in the early game can actually put BREN Esports slightly behind, finally chasing in all these small little leads. So BREN Esports having a difficult year selecting their first hero. In about 5 seconds from now, we'll be seeing how they will be dealing with this, and they will go in to take that Matilda before anything else.
I think this is a smart option here. It kind of just leaves the draft pretty open for their sides. 4 counter picks onto RRQ's part, but RRQ, they see this, and now they have to take advantage with the 2 picks and benefits of being on that red side. It looks like they've locked in the Yuzhong. It has been working out extremely well for their team. The question is, Selena, Jawhead, we've seen them both kind of interchange between them within the first rotation.
Wow, this is actually a shift in terms of the pacing that RRQ HOSHI wants to go for. They go straight for 2-team fight hero here in the first phase. Well, for BREN Esports, they have a lot of choices to go for. They can go for a show. They can go for what?
I mean,
a Jawhead.
I would.
Selena? Not really Selena because they have the Matilda already.
Yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if they decided to get the show in this situation. Even an Alice as well?
So far, Cho has been trusty for Lusty, and I think they should again always focus on the mid lane. Our first pick was on point. I think before the round goes back, there has to be some answer, and this could be a flex Baksha, could go on Lusty, could go on Flapteasy from the side lanes again, just to really call the regeneration on this Yuzhong, and as well Lancelot, which, you know, as great as BREN Esports' Carl Teasy was on the Lancelot across of M2, not just the game that he lost. He actually scored the very first savage of the whole entire tournament with this. It's still 2 out of 3 in the first phase that they answered.
And just looking at these boxes, it just gives a little bit of flashback of PTSD to some of those players that were actually facing off against the BREN esports side yesterday, because this is so potent to just, get in the face of whether or not you have a show. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, game-winning Baksha against Alter Ego yesterday, but yeah, RRQ HOSHI, each pick so far have been denial picks. We didn't need to ban them because they were planning to pick them up anyway.
Yeah. Remember, the first 2 picks here for the side of RRQ HOSHI, they rely so much on the lifesteal or the spell vamp that they have. So that means if you go and try to take their regeneration a bit down, tone it down a bit, that is gonna hurt their capability in the long run. So this Baksha and Lancelot is just so good for the side of BREN esports.
I mean, I think it's pretty great, especially when it comes to just the denial of health regeneration overall, especially when it comes to both Sylvana as well as the Yuzong, both pretty dependent on it. Both can abuse the Oracle. Both will look to get the Bloodlust Axe and the concentrated energy respectively. But BREN now banning out the Ling. The question onto RRQ: how exactly are they going to get something that feels in towards the late game, especially when you have someone like Carl Tizzy? He's got the Lancelot.
BREN esports, when they go for these kinds of Lancelot lineups, they don't necessarily try to go for a marksman lane. But if it's a possibility, and if of course Erdo can use a 1-1.
I don't doubt it. Now, going into the second phase of picking, that was the Roger locked out. Oh, they're going to steal away the 1-1. RRQ HOSHI, Roger, Mind Butters. 1-1 here for the side lane. Might be Wiz King, might be R7 now, BREN esports. They're closing this up, and without wasting any time. Hold up! Double assassin, side lane Hayabusa.
Can I also call it like triple assassin in such a way, like looking
Quadruple, technically. If you're looking at the game descriptions, yeah, Matilda and Selena. Interesting. That's a lot of pickup potential.
So they don't have a tank per se that's gonna roam early.
Okay.
Stay to the side lane.
All right, this is getting even more.
All right.
Really seeing the Hellcurt coming into the picture, and this is actually magnificent.
Yo,
BREN esports has a good draft, but RRQ HOSHI with just 1 pick, they just give a lot of. They just try to shut down. They try to shut down BREN esports as much as possible. They needed to find the pick. They picked the Hellcurt, and that there's a lot on BREN esports side.
I think this is some interesting adaptations. I don't necessarily believe it is going to work. I'm kind of 50 on the Hellcurt pick here. I do see that it is great in some situations, but when you have Matilda, and especially with the Circling Eagle, you can almost guarantee a lockdown in a lot of these points, and it's going to be who initiates first and who is going to be able to get their opponent preemptively, and that's going to be the name of the game. Who makes the first move?
I'm not even thinking about the farming situation. Like, how much gold you need? At what point will you say, okay, we're ready for these fights between these two teams that require so much across all their core heroes?
Oh, I don't know, but at least I don't have to think about it for now. You boys, you're gonna have to do one because this is too big for me to handle.
Okay, now ideation coming from the side of James, right? RRQ HOSHI. What's great about the Hellcurt heading in towards the late game is not only diving in towards the backline, getting that catch, it's also about that split push. Like, he just gets so much movement speed when he pops in that Dark Knight Falls. Just get across that, like, who's gonna be able to catch him when you can't even see your enemy?
I agree, because seeing that 1-1 really likes the V1 duels as well, you can deny vision of the 1-1 and just try to go for the duels on their side.
Yep, Lusty almost getting taken there. I kind of get it. This is a roaming Matilda. It's going to be a Matilda that provides shields and relies on mobility to kind of weave in and out of combat like a tank, Natalia. As you know, hold up, Psycho uses the Cyclone Eye with just enough time. A defensive arrow here by a few. real quick, let's rehash or remind people what lanings look like. It's going to be an XP lane Hayabusa. Ooh, Psycho, a little frisky, wanting to get in on Rebo's face. And then the XP lane is going to be, the gold lane is going to be the Baksha, facing off against the 1-1. An interesting matchup, but Flappy's able to bully WizKing nonetheless.
Yeah, of course, he's going to be soaking a bit of the poke, and he's got to be careful with the Bissell in as well, because WizKing, if he just gets caught out, okay.
Purify is safe. You got that cleanse.
Wait a minute. Yeah, she's taking the A.
Well, he does have the innate cleanse in his kit. So RRQ hits Vin. Vin here might go down.
Dark Knight falls. That's going to be some darkness raining down on the BREN ESPORTS, and they get the first blood. What a bait right there by Vin. No trades here by BREN ESPORTS.
Yeah, and this is definitely going to be a little bit for the likes of BREN ESPORTS eventually, when they are trying to go in for those sort of picks, which is what they are looking to set up, right? And here comes R7 already using the Black Dragon. Upwards by TZ as well as Lusty. Not going to be making much use out of this. As you can see, their health bars is still pretty much way up high, but the Hayabusa now moves over on towards the other side lane, and it's going to be having a lot of great pushes.
What a mirrored swap there by BREN ESPORTS and RRQ HOSHI. Now this fight in mid. Here the turtle breaks out. The turtle at about 1/5 of him. That's going to be stolen here by Kaltizi. And that's Lusty taken down here by R7. We're going to back out. Even Kaltizi doesn't want any part of this, as Few gets caught in the middle of 3 members of RRQ. 3 for 9 is the finally here. The body counts for RRQ HOSHI.
The better trade when over the side of RQ.
This to be expected, because Rebo won't be part of any fights. But as long as they can keep Psycho at bay, do not get caught in the way of the dragons, that is going to be fine for BREN ESPORTS. RRQ HOSHI, they're doing a great job as well. They're contesting, they're getting the kills, the pickoffs. And now what's left is they should go for the turrets.
I think this is actually RQ's plan, right? Like, you really want the attention to be on Psycho as well as Vin instead of Sid or even R7 in that sort of sense. WizKing kind of can self-sustain, especially when he does have the crossbow of Tang. So that's what they're hoping to pick up.
And out here saves Lusty, and a nice takedown by Kalti on the Sin, and the unthinkable has happened. We were talking about how it should have been Psycho, it should have been Vin, but yeah, they caught out Sin at the very right moment. Real quick note, ladies and gentlemen, Avarice onto that Sylvana. Nice way of the dragon here, catching Lusty. He survives. Gonna be the Thorn Rose pushing away Psycho and the gang.
That is the prowess of a Selena. Just throw out the arrow. If you hit the Hellcurt has no Purify. That is going to be Lance taking him down. And that is a lot of time. And this is the thing about Hellcurt that I didn't really like.
What? Tortoise Poissons underneath the turret allows him to go deep, way too deep, and there you go. R7 can't even regenerate despite having full Sha essence. And off camera, by the way, that was a kill by Rebo.
Those are the situations, but they're not done yet.
Butters, let Lusty finish. He's taking down Sin. That's going to be the Cyclone Eye going through the wall underneath the third. The safety of his side of the map. So far, Butters, Lusty says, okay, you can speak.
These are the things
After you.
Baksha does. Like the dives that BREN ESPORTS are doing now, it won't be possible without him.
Yeah. Those sort of catches were magnificent for BREN ESPORTS because now they do have a little bit of activation, especially on Kaltizi. This is their key towards those game-winning trades, and you just look at the amount of damage that Kaltizi gets. So he was under the turret. It didn't mean much as he popped out the turret Plaisance, and the other members of BREN ESPORTS could easily go into burst down like how could whenever he just appears a moment, and here comes Lusty pushing the back.
Oh no, that's gonna be Dark Knight Falls, but it was just a little too late. There was no setup, no follow through. Lusty gets blasted down by R7. A trade for support, and your core at BREN ESPORTS off with a lottery.
Yeah, just looking at how this sort of this asset meta is going, right? Of course, you have the tier 1 picks coming in from the side of BREN ESPORTS, and boy.
Oh, here gets popped into the Poissons underneath it. This hurts. This hurts. That's Vin taken down by Carlisi as they steal away the turtle. The purple that is and the turret. You see, I get the words mixed up, but nonetheless, I'm liking what BREN Esports is bringing.
Rebo. That is, will the crossbow of Tang be thrown out?
That has been.
Well,
That's whisking in the air. Pachoo, pachoo. That's Rebo taken down.
that's the sound of a bird with a gun.
That's what, that's what whiskey
Alright,
does.
I'm pretty sure nobody wants to mess with a bird with a gun, but
We'll allow it. We'll allow it.
yeah. What's big news right here, you know, like, I mean, guns, what is pretty much lethal? Blades, and who's got the sharper blades right now? It's called Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Already having that blade of the Heptaseas being
Oh,
bought
yeah.
out. Sin really struggling to find his footing in this part of the match. Like, oh, you got the Hayabusa, you got the Selena to deal with. After you get past that Boxer, it's honestly tough for him to choose.
Oh, Vindo jumping in with the Imperial Justice and R7 coming in with the Black Dragon form. You gonna use Cyclone Eye, get out of here. Oh, from the back, Winning gets skewered by Carlisi. The other TZ brother takes down Psycho, and right now the stickers come up. The fallen brothers of RRQ HOSHI. They have no choice but to accept this conversion from BREN Esports as they push.
This off-lane backsha is just making waves. Whereas at BREN Esports, he's controlling so much of this RQ aggression.
Yeah, and just look at it from the drafting phase itself. It's like, okay, you can have to use them all you want, but remember this, I'm going to be activating what we can, and now we do have a little bit of a look into the itemization as the turn falls in favor of the side of BREN Esports, now pressing on towards Sin, as he is being forced a little bit backwards.
Rebo is almost with this battle. Sin is just getting the Legion swords and probably a Blade of Despair in just a bit. But Carl does have the item advantage with the Heptaseas.
Yep, and he's sitting at 5-0, and this is the best we've seen Carl DZ today. This Lancelot is cleaner than the Claude he brought out. Now here is a in-game pause, real quick, a breather for everyone watching, and as well the players and us here at the caster's desk. All right, I think Gideon has been paying attention. Man, how's the fight feeling so far?
Okay, I need to ask about this Lancelot here because we've seen it on multiple different teams. We've seen it work and we've seen it not work. What's the difference between them and specific Caltesi for pulling it off? Because we've seen them actually knock down Alter Ego with this exact same pick. And to me, the mechanics seem solid for both sides, but I feel like it's not just Caltesi who's making this work here. There is an outside factor.
It's definitely going to be the boxer. You just look at him, he's all over the map, he's always protecting his teammates everywhere he goes, and it's so easy for them to just move in and out, having so much mobility. I think he definitely plays a big factor in this match.
The thing is, the difference between Carl, TZ, Lancelot, and other Lancelot is the confidence. It's his confidence level to just go in and out of fight. Carl TZ is one of those players that really just want to push for kills.
And if there is ever one hero that enables him to do that, it's going to be the Lancelot. With the puncture, third rows, phantom execution, there are a lot of dashes to bail him in and to bail him out if he ever needs help, or just go for the savage like he did to 10-second Frost Gaming.
We're talking about the optimal form of Carl D here, right? Right. And I think there are layers to this question. We'll get to it later. All right. Right now we're back into the battle. This is going to be 8 minutes, 20 seconds in, and yeah, look at this. Flat Easy can just walk into the side of the jungle for RRQ HOSHI towards the orange here, pushing them out. Vin using the Imperial Justice as a defense mechanism. Dragon onto this Baksha. Not even blinking, not even sweating at all. He's like, yeah, that's fine. It happened. Look him out.
Look at Psycho even catching that arrow. That Vin doesn't go down.
I'm like, yeah, let me block it. Let me block it. Now a push, a pop, and even in mid, there's a huge wave crashing in. Oh, wow. 6-0. Contra 6-0.
Yeah, and just look at they invest so many effort on towards Baptiste, and all of that is actually going to waste. How are you supposed to actually burst out the Baptiste? There's no current answer to that. Sin, you don't even want to get to that answer question even. So it's really tough to ignore the Baxia and go for the rest with him just really pummeling them from getting anywhere backwards or forward. Now, let's simply cycle their way of the dragon, and this might just be a big fight for BREN Esports. Pulling it off.
Yo, the mere presence of Flapteasy scares the rest of Hoshi, and this is prime rotations. Butters, do you agree with me? This is all leading up towards his first Lord take.
Yes, it could, but I think for them, they just want to go for the kills. They want to take the turrets right now so that RRQ Hoshi will be forced back to stay in their base. Now, if you would look at the items here for RRQ Hoshi, Psycho and Vin picked up an antique Kira. So that only means that they're having a hard time dealing with much of Karltizi, and they even have Flapteasy on their throat as well.
Doesn't help. Right now, Psycho goes in. Less than half health. RRQs, R7 coming in. Sin gets blasted by Karltizi. It's looking grim. Oh, they trade out. They finally get rid. Trying to look for a nice angle. Karltizi still to fall. He's got like few. Takes out R7. It's down to 2. Imperial Justice catches none. Oh, backline. Vin gets blasted by Karltizi. Oh, Rebo misses by 1 shuriken. It's gonna be 3-for-1 while Wizking says, let me just clear this wave and get the hell out.
Does it even catch that Baxia? Like, you just saw Sin just explode right to get a captain. Right now. This is not the fight you or even ponder upon. And BREN Esports, well, they're laughing their way to the bank.
Oh! I mean, I love the Hellcurt pick just because of the utility it brings. But BREN Esports, every time Sin goes in, that rhymes by the way.
6 out of 10.
Okay, getting there. Now, Sin going in, he's gonna try and pick up someone, but every BREN Esports member just turns to him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Again, as nice it is, again, you see the intent, but where's the execution? And right now, it's not on the side of RRQ Hoshi. BREN Esports is ahead by about 9,000 gold here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at definitely thinking that BREN Esports now overpowering in terms of no way that all in all the defense all you want. It's just that there's just a no-go zone for Sin, and you don't even want to invest risking all the way up into the fun line.
No-go zone. Anywhere that lets you circling, it's a no-go zone. All right. You got cops like Flapteasy saying, "Sir, this is cordoned off. If you come in here, it's not going to be good for you." Now there's the dark fall from the back. Sin once more, the first casualty, and Lord still stands. That's going to be the Poissons here. Pop by Flapteasy from the back. Gets destroyed by the OG shadow kill. And people ain't done. The doctor takes out Psycho as well in R7, right in the middle of 4 members of BREN Esports. Make that 5. That's all of them, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to go for the... It's just Wizking left to defend. Is it enough? The answer is no. Another shadow kill by the good doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, BREN Esports with the classic recall in front of your base as a game number 3.
Now, if you think that TP is annoying, the shouts that came out that really just tried to scare BREN Esports, those were the things that were happening. It's a mind battle here on the battlefield, and BREN Esports, the recall was just an answer to that pressure. Like, shout as much as you want, but you will never ever get into our game.
Honestly, I have to admit, this has been an absolutely phenomenal game to watch here from both of these teams, and even with the shouts here, and especially after yesterday's game, I think, it's a little bit of a primer. Like, Alter Ego was a
between the red pill and the blue pill right now. Like, do you go with what everybody has been doing exactly the same, going for something very standard, somehow works, or you go out of the way and we're still not taken, and BREN Esports shows that they can do both and still really get closer and closer towards the grand finals. Now, back in towards the draft, right? It seems like there's a lot of assassins being taken out from the early phase.
Yep, given how many assassins showed up in game number 3, they're like, hold up, let's pull the brakes on this, because when things get crazy, it has been proven that BREN Esports is the one who has the upper hand right now. Benedetta, the last ban for BREN Esports, alongside Natalia and Yu Shin, RRQ HOSHI, they take out the Brody as always should, as well as Fuse Selena. Gideon, what are we looking to? What's the last ban for RRQ HOSHI so that BREN has a tough time getting their first pick?
This is a really tough one here because they have to make a decision whether they need to get rid of Yutong or they want to keep it up for later, and the same goes for Esmeralda here. But if Esmeralda goes through, I think there is a potential likelihood that RQ could be able to pick up Claude, and they performed really well on Claude, but BREN, they've been absolutely trying to shut down, seem to be pretty much in your face, and that's definitely not working out from the past game at all. Like, the impact was very close to none, and now they're taking out the Yuzong just to try to negate a little bit of both what they did back in the Bruce game.
Probably an Esmeralda. BREN Esports.
I mean, they're sniffing something. They're like, Esmeralda, this can't be it. This is a little too good to be true.
Low-hanging fruit. It's so easy, and yeah, to avoid it. They skirt it, they go ahead and pick up the Claude. And again, I think this is smart. One is you don't fall for the easy trap. Like Esmeralda, I think RRQ HOSHI was expecting it. And yes, Sin is so good on marksman type heroes. This is 2 birds with 1 stone. Give it to Carl.
Yeah, but this just means that RRQ, again, Sin might have to bite the bullet one more time for his team, locking in the Matilda as well as the Esmeralda, at least. RRQ, we've seen them perform on this against the Burmese ghouls, and again, whoever got Esmeralda, it was kind of like a 50-50. It's like, oh, you can see where it looks super overpowered, but at the end of the day, didn't exactly get to that point where they could start carrying.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you know, in towards phase 1, I'm expecting to see a Boxia because they honestly have no answer to it even up till now. Like, yeah, you can definitely go in with this Falling Star Moon, just if he's going to be moving all the way in towards your frontliners, that's definitely going to be opening like of opportunities, especially with also the Cho being picked up by Sports.
My, oh my, this is the trusty, lusty Cho. Ever since unlocking his potential yesterday, I've perished all doubts. Like, I used to think like, oh, it's so bad, it's so hard to use, but now I think Lusty got his mojo back.
And clearly seeing that they have an Esmeralda on the side of RRQ HOSHI, there are people who are gonna go for the split. So with that in mind, BREN Esports just go straight for the show, and a lot of thoughts that might have come out from Ducky there, but this is a good hero for Lusty, given that the requirements and setup is right.
Yeah, and I think, Eudora here coming out from the side of RRQ. Hope they want to just kind of compensate for the fact that she lacks that mobility with the help of Matilda to kind of follow up on, oh, you get a little bit of harassment, all of a sudden, 1, 2, zip and stun, and you're gone.
I hate to jump the gun here, but the last time we saw this many mages in a single lineup was when there was no tank, right? There was no tank. I'm wondering why RRQ HOSHI is so bold to do that.
I was just about to point it out, like, I told you so much about the box, and he's just having a big grin, like, you're giving him what he wants, and he definitely can soak in, unless if they have a pick here to really say, oh, I am going to be someone you can't ignore. My mages can actually do the things that they want to, keeping the box occupied, and this is where more and more of all these bats are coming right through with the 1-1 first, so are they gonna go in for another assassin for the side of RRQ?
Yeah, a Roger is a good ban. I was thinking that maybe RRQ HOSHI is planning to go for the Roger just because this is a dive heavy composition, the Esmeralda and the Matilda.
And it's a Sin Chow too.
Yeah.
Sin has no options. Very few.
I'm thinking maybe there are more that he could go for, but it won't be as good in the current meta, the tournament meta that we have right now. RRQ HOSHI, I think Sin is gonna be forced to play a lane, probably.
Potentially.
Actually,
Bren still has a bat.
I would agree that, Brent could shut down this thing almost straight away and force RRQ into something that takes even longer and doesn't exactly spike as nicely with the mages, and that could just be putting him on something like a Hayabusa here. But they don't ban out the lane, they get rid of the Khalid instead.
I really like that most of these games, they are actually removing the Khalid. They understand that it is really absolutely tough to take down the Khalid. Not to say that he's ultra tanky, but his sustainability is just as bad as you compare facing off against the Esmeralda.
I mean, there's a lot of speculation that could be one way. That could be one way. RRQ, considering that the style that they played so far, could look to set up hard. They could look to set up Harley, and it's not like we haven't seen this huge mage composition before. We saw it in the group stages against EBOS SG, and we're able to kind of defend against it. But instead, they're going to go with the Belleric here, and hoping that might just be enough to stop Claude in his tracks.
Okay, so there's a tank. We were looking for one. No Lemon, but we'll see how this ends up on RRQ Hoshi's lineup this time. Butters, light bulb moment.
We've seen this. This could be a Bruno setup for RRQ Hoshi.
Oh,
We've seen
another
wrong.
version of it.
No, it's almost the carbon copy, the exact same thing. They've got the components there as well. But Bren, they lock in the Farsa as well as the Sylvana, which was, I was thinking of something, but I think Butters might be onto something here.
Could be a Bruno. So that's the only thing that RRQ played in terms of jungle that works.
Give it Sin, give it to Sin. Is he F2 if that is what they're trying to go for, if not the Harley?
There's a few concerns that I have here, especially with Sin as Whiskey on board. You can honestly see that the tempo that they're playing at is not exactly the same like how Lemon as well as Albert has been performing throughout the entirety of the runs of the upper bracket. And instead, our answers will be delivered by the carry here instead of the Bruno that has been speculated. But, BREN Esports still having something that we've been seeing for the past few games, which is honestly looking real good.
All right, my question is, while it's hot, while it's here, is this a better choice than the Bruno? Because if you go for marksman, you better go for the one that works. I go for the one that is right for the situation, and carry seems so vulnerable.
I would agree in most cases, and Bruno, yes, I would argue that Bruno is even more susceptible and more volatile in comparison to carry because his win conditions are super early and super late. There is no middle ground to that without a snowball going.
Yeah. For the carry, there's some leeway to actually just go down once or twice. And you can, if you do have a good early game, you might be popping off by the time that you reach mid-game. And that's how the carry works.
All right, well, given this unorthodox draft by RRQ Hoshi, everything lays on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is game number for BREN Esports, looking for the elimination onto the King of Kings, RRQ Hoshi. Gentlemen, let's get it.
The King of Kings here is definitely putting a lot of high stakes on this carry in hopes that if she could get really ahead, that Maxia may not be a problem in the late game phase where it can just type out itself. So I'm definitely getting where exactly they're going for instead of the Bruno that you did mention might not be the best of choices.
Yeah, and again, your pick, your mention of oh wait, hold on, this might be a bit of an engagement. Cartesi going up for it really aggressively. The Cosmic Lance already landing, third hit on Gene could go, and all of a sudden, Psycho, who isn't level 2, who really needed to be level 2 there to save their Eudora, IR7 trying to salvage the situation, but back to mid.
Lusty and the crew, they were fast on their fingers just to punish that risky play from Vin. Vin tried to steal the purple buff, it didn't work.
It's not the greatest of plays here, but it doesn't mean RRQ is out just yet. The first bloods usually don't mean too much as long as you don't get to translate into anything in BREN. No buffs, no steals, no wave clears, no invades as well. So technically it's still just, slightly ahead.
Yeah. And it all depends on who we see gets his first item. There's this first item power spike that we're talking about when it comes to a carry or a Claude.
And speaking of which, we're already seeing a lot of invades coming from the side of RRQ, while Lusty is trying to play that in-your-face chill, and definitely not the bush that he wants to move in for, but Whiskey trying to go for a catch.
He misses the Dryads, and that would have been a really nice catch if he was able to land that. But at least they buy a little bit of pressure to get this turtle. But can Bren capitalize on this here? You can see a lot of their members rotating fast, and not to mention Boxia's coming in hot.
And this is a way to just catch Psycho and the others. They wanted to stop the effectiveness of this Baksha, but there's a fight happening right now. Look at this. Psycho gets caught out, and Sin and the others are just forced to go back. They can't do anything. They can't punish.
I'm not sure why exactly the Psycho went back in, because none of these members are actually responding towards this, and very obviously that was a miscommunication.
Yeah, it just seems like there was a little bit of disconnect there for the entire team of RQ. Were they sure they were going in? Were they unsure they were going in? They had to make that decision, and they have to make it fast.
They just got caught out, and a few won't be holding back on the trigger of his Imperial Justice.
And yeah, I mean, right now Bren is just playing a little bit more sync in comparison to RRQ, but RRQ, they don't have, you know, they're not so in the dumps in terms of their economy. They're still relatively even for the most part of it. 8K to 7.3K. It's only going to be a 6 to 700 differential overall. And Sin, he's going to need to start quickly ramping up into this game. He needs to at least get the Demon Hunter Sword into Golden Staff to make sure that Flapteezy on this Boxia a little more ineffective.
Yeah, I definitely gotta say that this Kaltizi is ramping up way faster in that sort of sense as compared to Sin at the moment. But Flapteezy, now that RRQ HOSHI has already known what to expect from the first game, he's going to be facing off against R7 at the moment. This is honestly not going to be going all too much anywhere, but eyes are on that river right now because Matilda is looking for a setup.
Psycho and View will meet each other in the brush, but I don't think RRQ HOSHI would just be initiating on a Sylvana support now. There is a lot of things that they have to consider, and they have to bring Sin to the point where he gets in this battle, Raptor Machete, and then this battle, then just go from there.
Yeah, and it's important, and I think, you know, they have to itemize correctly for the side of RRQ. We see Talisman already being purchased on R7, but this is going to be the fight that we're looking for. Psycho going to get hit by Easy initially, but a shield the box here. As Whiskey, he is on this side dealing with Few with no problems, but the rest of RRQ, they're looking for this engage. 3-man hit from the G-Crew. No, way of the Dragon as well. Not going to be enough as they are able to get the damage from Rebo's and Feathered Airstrike, but now they're going to call it off. They trade 1 for 1. Can they get one more? Whiskey finally goes down. As you can see, Kaltizi, he is very comfortable in his position, and RRQ forced to back away.
Definitely unfavorable for RRQ HOSHI. Not only will they eventually lose out on this turtle picks, they've managed to annihilate all these key components. Finn, once again, get caught out, and well, just BREN Esports knowing what exactly to do, and just like how they do best, all the turtles in priority.
R7 going to take the full brunt of damage from the Blazing Duet. Doesn't look like he was able to stack up his Art of Thievery to maximum before coming in. But, you know, R7, he just laughs. Aha! Go back into lane. Let's see what else is there to happen.
But Flap, on the other hand, gets caught out, and that's going to be a lot of ultimates getting thrown into him. Flap TV! Will he still escape that? No, he won't. But look at the commit, resources, skills, all damage that was thrown out. How tanky is that?
Yeah, literally 4 ultimates came out of them.
Oh, I'm just watching that. If he's just gonna be popping that rejuvenation, he can definitely last for days. And now there comes another little bit of the puzzle here. And mind you, they spent everything just to get one.
Well, at least they didn't get anything in return. Wait a minute, Lusty trying to make the big play here. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually hit it. Good preemptive coming in from RRQ. But Kaltizi coming in pretty on hot. Doesn't get too much damage from his Blazing Duet. Not a lot of value. Bren need to start pulling back away, but this is RSQ to look for that re-engage. They're getting a little antsy as they move closer towards that jungle. They just don't know where the rest of the team is yet.
Yeah, and of course, this is going to be very vital for them to just cut in all these but Zed gets caught out in the mid side. Bren looking all too hot. He's going for Finn as well. Just look at Kaltizi. He's already 3-0.
He is very happy with the amount of damage he's had there. Even diving, Calteezy, he's going in hard with the help of Flapteezy to enable him to go under the turret. Dragon onto Whiz King here as they try to secure this up. Rather than Triad, is it enough? Calteezy only losing 50% of his HP to take it out. What great play coming in from Red to ensure this dive is successful.
Now, RRQ Hoshi, they still have a chance to get back at this. They need to find the opening. They need to find a breather. But Carl is just going wild. This is the confidence that we're talking about. Gideon and Contra.
Speaking of confidence, you know, they might just be the Indonesia slaves here because they've already taken down Alter Ego and now they are finding every single way to RRQ Hoshi.
A true test of might, but not only that, Brand, it feels like have a lot of momentum riding behind them with a lot of their moves. It is very concise, it is very clean compared to their first two games where you can definitely see that there were a couple of misplays here and there, but overall, Brent just making the right decisions each and every time.
You won't hold back on just using the Imperial Justice. He knows that he has a cooldown time just because of the pull yourself together. He's not gonna try and conserve that as much as possible. He knows that if you catch ones here, he is able to get the kill as well.
Getting here, it's gonna be been there in this basic duet on towards RRQ, but they're putting them back as they manage to get the catch on towards Calteezy as well as Lusty. Flapteezy eventually fall, but look how much it's taking out of them to get this pick. Theo walks away alive, but there's still Ripple at the back. Better asteroid gets one, and the Eudora goes down again.
Great return kills coming in from Bren's side. They lose 3 out of great execution from RRQ. A great mechanical play, especially using the Circle of Eagle to make sure that Calteezy blazing the wet. I'm just going to circle around you till it's done.
This is one of the things that I'm telling you about RRQ Hoshi. They can find these little openings and they can punish BREN Esports. Now, BREN Esports, they might have the lead now, but they should be careful into picking their plays. There are times where you can get to, let's say you can be overconfident, just go at them and just lose currencies in the process. Item check is up right now. That is going to be Demon Hunter Sword, the Golden Staff, Rebo with the Clock of Destiny, Winter Truncheon, Lightning Truncheon rather, Few with the Necklace of Durans. Onto the other side, here met on Wiz King. Bruce scores breastplate on R7.
Oh, there goes the fight. Oh, they're already going to be against Circle Eagle starting off, but R7 is going to get absolutely destroyed by this blazing duet coming in for a fully stacked Calteezy here. Unfortunately, he goes backwards with Batman Image, so he can't get into the fight, but they do find another one. They're looking for the pincer. Flapteezy coming in, turn twice, Poisons as well. They've cut them out. Brad looking to cut them off as Whiskey, trying to slow down the damage. Now Sin needs to turn this around. He's got the items finally, but unfortunately, it ain't going to be enough. His range is just a little too short.
Oh my goodness. Well played from Bran. Like, they saw it and they took it right there, especially with RQ all stuck in choke point. At first, they pick up R7 and Whisking was all the way out of that fight already, and he joins way too late.
Sin is trying his best to just control this game. You know what? He wants to get the farm. He really just wants to carry. But the thing is, BREN Esports has just a lot of control. The back is just controlling them way too much, and the throw.
Psycho. Gets hit by way of the dragon. Sin next. Oh, that's the worst person that wanted to die for the side of RQ, and now R7 is on the run. They've already taken out Eudora as well. The cop is falling apart as Bren allowing them to say, hey, make a mistake, face check me, I won't let you get away.
This is definitely very punishing because this might just costed them this final run right on the lower brackets. They're already pummeling down the base. The timer is already up. Psycho is going to be coming out of the base, but Bren, they can easily go on for this lord.
Bren, now they're clearing the side waves first. They're trying to punish, trying to take away the economy. Again, and RRQ are realizing they are on a ticking clock here. They don't have a lot to work with. They're running out of resources on top of everything else, but can close out this game here.
The Lord is now their target, and that's what they aim for. They get the extra help from the Lord. They know that they need to be safe at threading this game-ending play that they're gonna do. There are still outer turrets onto the top lane, Gideon Contra. And as you can see, BREN Esports knows that this is only the level 1 Lord, not the Luminous Lord.
Level 1 Lord or not, I mean, BREN wants to take this advantage and just really press down on the advantage even harder. If this doesn't go well, at least at the worst, RRQ go even and it starts all over once more. But if BREN get ahead, they end the game and they take this series and they go to the grand finals.
And now it's really relying on Sin so much that a lot of all these Athena shields have already been purchased. There's going to be more magic resistance coming in towards this late phase. Yep, they're going to be clearing off the Lord over the mid side, but BREN going for a dive!
In the process, R7 is now pulling on back. He wants to go back into the pit to get some help. But Sin, he's locked down in Imperial Justice, but can they peel him up? Finally, Whiskey is in position to do so. They lose 2 inhibitor turrets at the same time here, but BREN, they're going for the end. This